What's up, guys? Zaid here, and today I'm going to go over my deck list that I played in the Philly Regional. It was almost 700 players, I think 680. I got 44th, which isn't really a top to me. I was like looking for top 8, but it's still an invite, so I figured I'd go over the deck,
You didn't
talk
even
about
want
it.
to play the deck.
Yeah, I was thinking, I didn't want to play the event that much. I was thinking
Yeah.
if I draw Shifter, I'll play. If I don't, I won't, and I did. So here
Yeah.
we are. And so before I get really into it, shout out Matt for driving. Shout out
Yeah.
Tommy for lending me his prosperities,
Yeah.
and shout out Dave because a lot of my thoughts on this deck are really just me regurgitating Dave's thoughts, and then I had some like other stuff I did differently that I'll cover when I go into it. And he got 27th, and I think that was his first invite, which is crazy to say because like he's really
Dude's
good at
really
Yu-Gi-Oh.
good. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna get into the list. It'll be kind of quick over the main deck, and then the extra inside I'll talk more, and then I could talk about my matchups and stuff
Oh,
too.
and shout out Philly cheesesteaks.
Honestly, the ones we got weren't that
They're
good.
right. They're honestly, I think their Philly cheesesteaks are a little overrated. In
That's a
general.
conversation for a different day.
Do
To,
video.
to start, I played obviously 3 Robina, 1 barrier statue to search it, then 3 Eaglin, and then the Eaglin targets are double Empin, which is standard, and then Dave plays Snowell, so I played Snowell. His reasoning on this was he likes 5 tributes, which feels like a little bit of a lot to me, but it's still like really good because this card is like a Book of Moon on their turn, so it does what the trap does, except you don't have to have the trap to do it, and it also gets over Griffin because it's 29 attack versus 28, which that did come up once, but I don't know if I would for sure keep this in the list, but it seems fine. And then 1 Avion, 1 Mega Monarch. Another thing I didn't realize until he told me it actually was that all the Mega Monarchs you can tribute by tributing 1 tribute summon monster of their type. So like I can just summon an Emp search and then summon the Rise on top of it, and I didn't really realize that till Dave told me that. So once he told me though, literally the next round it came up, and so everything here feels standard. Only thing you can maybe change are the Snowell, but I don't know what I would change it for.
I think the card's pretty good.
Then the rest of the birds, 2 toucan, 1 stree. Dave plays 2 stree, 1 toucan. The reason you want to play an additional name of one of these is so you have more targets for your spells, being map and the adventure. And so my reason thinking on 2 of this is if you just open map stree, it's not really like a good way to combo because you'd banish Robina, summon this. You don't have anything engraved for this, or Robina come back, you do it. You would still combo. Whereas this one, you can banish the Robina, add it back off this, summon Robina, and you still like have that additional normal summon to play with. And this also, if you already have combo with this, like if you already have access to Robina, this lets you tutor out a different card. And then in the side deck, this one pairs better with the Featherstorm. And so that's why I opted for this to be my second name, just like because it's wind. Because most of the time you're not, if you're playing the extra one, it's just so you have more names to make other cards live, and this makes the most amount of cards live. So that's like my theory on why I played 2 of that one. And then for the Floowandereeze spells and traps, 3 of each of them, and then the trap. I was playing a build where I played 2 trap, but that's because I sided trap trick, and I ended up cutting the trap trick, and so I cut this too. Like you only really need 1. When you draw it, it honestly feels kind of good because then your Empin can just search this card, which I forgot to put down. But if you open this, your Empin can search this or search the map, or sometimes I like to add this because I personally think Twin Twister just like wins this matchup because you can hit the field spell and you can hit the trap and then they lose.
Hell yeah.
And so I like playing around it because if other players acknowledge that that card's like a blowout, I want to not get blown out by it. So sometimes I'll search this just to set it to play it around that. And then for the non-Floowandereeze like engine cards, we got the triple prosperity. Shout out Tommy.
Yeah.
Triple duality. These cards, they're kind of obvious like you play them in your deck. But one thing that I've noticed, DB Grinder and also Denier Match. If you guys don't know either of them, you probably should. DB Grinder is like my favorite YouTube channel, and Denier Match is #1 on DB playing this deck. They both say that they side this card out, going second like games 2 and 3 because of Lancia. And I don't think you should do that. My theory on it is like, if they Lancia me and this is a side deck card, it's not really like letting me play anyways. And so like I'm still just playing with whatever cards are in my hand. Whereas if they don't Lancia me and this is a side deck card instead of prosperity, it's still not letting me play. So like 100% of the games where I'm not under Lancia, I'm going to be able to draw, activate this card, and play the game. And so I feel like if they Lancia you, if you're able to play anyways, then you just play and you have this for follow-up. And if you weren't able to play anyways, this being a side card is probably not helping. And so I didn't side it out, but I do really like that card. And then the last like couple cards, 3 Book of Moon. I've seen lists cut it. Dave was saying lists were cutting it, and they're probably just wrong. People were thinking you could cut it because the quick play spell functions similarly, how it lets you dodge Veil or Imperm. But this is just like 3 more cards that let you dodge Veil or Imperm, and then if you don't need to dodge Veil or Imperm, this card can either like crack boards going second, it can trade with the Griffin, it can trade with like a DPE, but it can also, when you go first, if you don't have to use it, it can protect your barrier statue. It kind of does a lot. The card's really cool. In Sword Soul, you just like book their Moe after they summon a token, and they gotta have 2 extenders to play. Against Phantom Knight, Dave was telling me, it didn't come up for me this tournament, but he was saying if you book their normal summon, they need 2 extenders to try to play there, and then that's through everything else you have. So this card is just really good. Round 1 against Klein, game 2, that's one of my losses, was the very first round. Game 2, I opened map, triple Book of Moon, and the Harpy Trap, and I was so sad, but when you don't draw 3 of it, it's really good. And then the 1 Duster and the 1 Call By. Reason for Call By is obvious, like you stop hand traps, it works like Book of Moon, but it dodges like every hand trap. But Duster, Dave was telling me that it's cool because just like you have 6 pots, so sometimes you're gonna open this card going first and it's gonna be a little dead, but that's like very seldom. I think it's like a 10% chance or something to draw 1 of going first game 1. And well, like it's a 10% chance to draw 1 of, I think, and you'd have to like cut that in half to 5% because it's only bad drawing it going first. So like there's a 5% chance this card's gonna suck, but there's a good chance that like when you hit it off of these cards, it's gonna be nuts. So it's nice having it in there to give you the option game 1 to be able to remove back row off of Prosperity or Duality. And then the obvious like auto win going second cards, Shifter and Dark Ruler No More. These cards were like dirty. If you draw 1 of the 2 of them going second, you're like probably winning that game. Sometimes though, if you don't draw either of these, the deck just has a hard time going second. But the Book of Moons help that a lot too. And so that's the main deck. It feels really standard, and if it's not standard, it should be. Like, I feel like the main deck is probably perfect. I can't think of anything I would change, except like the Snawl maybe. But I can't think of a better card to put in there. I'll go to the extra deck next. The extra deck's really simple. These are Maximus targets. They never came up, and then you add this in, and these are the first 6 I banish off Prosperity. This card also never came up. I don't even really know why it's in here. I guess like you could take their Baron de Fleur if it's engraved. But I think this maybe should technically be the water one because you can like suicide the water one into a big guy and search Robina. But these were like, I just banished them a lot. I never went into the extra deck this weekend. These cards though, Dave was telling me the line that these are for is like if you get hit by there can be only one. On your opponent's turn, when they try to end, you summon a guy off your trap. And then you don't do anything with it. You don't like use the effect or anything because you're locked under their can. But then on your turn, you make one of these, and then you normal summon a bird, and then you go into Phoenix to out the their can, which takes so many resources. It makes them you have to play on their turn.
You have to be in a bad spot.
Yeah, but if it comes up, it's like there, and the extra deck sucks. So, yeah. And then these cards are all just Zeus fodder. I think one of my games round either, I wish I had it still written down, like 8 or 9. Round 9 I played against a Sword Soul guy, and I flipped the Harpy Trap on him at a bad time because I had a Streen Hand and an Eaglin on field. He revealed Vishuda. I probably should have just Featherstormed right there, but my thought process was if he doesn't attack over my monster, if he doesn't attack my Eaglin so it goes to the banish pile, Stree's not a combo on its own. But what I didn't realize at the time is that I could have just normaled Stree, went into Recital Starling, use its effect to search Robina, and then go battle phase, attack, drop, and end on a 3 material Zeus with follow-up search. And at that time, I also had a Book of Moon. And so I think that play, even if it didn't win me the game, would have put me in a better position. But that's the only time I even, like, in hindsight, wanted to make extra deck. Outside from that, it just never came up. They were just Prosperity targets. But there's also a case to play cherries. You can tell by my extra I don't play cherries. But now I'll get into the side deck. I played, let me clear my throat. I play 3 Harpy's Featherstorm. This card you sided in every matchup going first. Let me grab some water too. And then in the mirror match going second. Man, I feel like so. There we go. I feel like I had some shit stuck in my throat. Then we got Triple Lancia. This card, I don't remember if I said it, but you put this thing going second against the mirror too. You just like always want this card in the mirror no matter when you're going. And I played 3 Lancia. This is just like I'm just gonna lay the first 12 down. All these 12 you put in the mirror match.
Jeez.
And so, but they also have to like be flexible in other matchups. Like this is just your auto win going first card. This is really strong in the mirror, but it's also good against a lot of other decks like PK. I can't think off the top of my head like the 10E strategies, but there's a lot of decks where you're putting this in against. The triple twin, you put in against any back row deck, and the reason this card I think is crazy in the mirror, and every deck should honestly side this if you're scared of Floowandereeze, because during the draw or standby phase, you twin Twister hitting their trap and their field spell, and now they have no way to play on your turn. And so you just have to like address what they did on theirs. And the beauty of this deck is that it plays on both players' turn. It snowballs really well. So like the advantage I gain on your turn setting me up for my turn is just like insane. And if you can cut that off and make me play just on my turn like a fair Yu-Gi-Oh deck, then it's just like it's really good for you. And so that's why I'm siding this in. But it also, if you're afraid of deck siding in their cans or floodgates, or if you're against Eldritch, like it benefits in that too. Sometimes I would side just like one in so that I had a higher chance of hitting back row removal off Prosperity and Desires. And then Shared Ride, I think I'll cut this card. I think I'm going to replace it with Droll, honestly. But the theory was that it's like a blowout in the mirror because you can draw it as your 6th card. You can set it as a trap going first. Like on any player's turn, this is good because the mirror is going to let you draw 2 to 3 cards. And that could be drawing you into Lancias, into Twins, into Trap, and also into Combo. And so it seems really strong in that regard. And the problem I have with it, though, is like going first against any other deck, you only want to be putting these in. Like, there's nothing you really want to take out for a card like this going first. So against other decks, and it also does nothing going second. So I want this to be like a DD Crow probably because it's more versatile. And then Token Collector is the one slot that you don't side in the mirror. I was thinking about playing like a Ghost Ogre because you need a hand trap that trades with Brave if you don't draw the Shifter. But this trades with Brave even if you draw Shifter, and it like is a technically an extender because you summon it, and then if all you have is Eaglin, you still have combo. Because typically if all you have is Eaglin, where's he at? Eaglin, you would like search a tribute and you couldn't do anything if you don't have another bird. But if you token collector them, then this is on the board, so you'd Eaglin, search, tribute these, and if you're not under Shifter, you still have the token collector for like an interruption later. And so I liked this card. Because this wasn't a card that was more versatile in other matchups, I felt myself having to put this in as like my only other hand trap against a deck like PK Brave, and this didn't really feel like it did enough in that matchup, whereas I'd rather put in a card like Droll, because if they resolve Brave, then they're not going to get to resolve their PKs, and if they resolve a PK, they won't get their Brave. And so this like it didn't perform as well as I wanted it to, but that's not its fault. In the matchups where it's insane, when you draw it, it's insane. But because of the way my side was built, other matchups I didn't have a strong enough blowout card for other decks. But when I change that, I think the side deck's perfect. And so, real quick before like I end it, I was 7-3. My matchups I played round 1 I played against. Fuck, I'm spacing it.
Klein.
Oh yeah. Round 1 I played Klein. He was playing the Cybers Eldritch deck. He 2-0'd me. I drew really bad both games. I was glad it was against a friend, though. Like, a random didn't get to 2-0 me for free.
You drove 2.5 hours to play with your boy.
Yeah, but then round 2, I played DDD. That game was really easy. Rounds 3 through 5, I played the mirror. I only dropped 1 game in mirror matches. Like, the first 2 I 2-0'd. The second one, the guy beat me game 1. I technically could have kept playing, but I just scooped because we only had 20 minutes left, and my side deck like destroys the mirror, so I was confident I could get the reverse 2-0.
Yeah, for real.
That guy, he was really cool, and one thing that like a funny interaction we have, we sit down, he wins the die roll, he starts going, and he summons Robina, and he's like, "Do you know what the Floowandereeze cards do?" And I'm like, I kind of know. And then on my turn, I just like summon a card, and I'm like, I know what the Floowandereeze cards do. But
also, did he even know what you played at on game 2?
Oh, game 2 he did, yeah, because we played out the game 1.
Oh, you mean game 1? You were talking about game 1?
Yeah, game 1, I played a card, and I'm like, yeah, I know what they do. I'm on the same deck. And then he told me that he actually had a matchup prior where he also played the mirror, and he went first and started playing, and the guy goes, oh, this is going to be degenerate, which implies it's the mirror match, and you don't want your opponent to know it's the mirror match because you make a different play. You end on a whole different end board. And then rounds, so 3 through 5 was the mirror. 6, I don't really remember. 6 is the only one I can't remember. So if I played you round 6 and you're watching this, let me know. I'm sorry, I forgot off the top of my head. Round 7, I played against my boy Logan. His channel is Logan JRA, I believe, if you want to check him out on YouTube. He was playing Drytron. That's also what he's like known for playing. Game 1, I went first, I won. Game 2, he went first, he won. Game 3, I went first, I won. It's kind of just like how it goes with a matchup like that. He can't outstat you. I can't out his full board. But that guy's really cool. Shout out his channel. Round 8, I played against Cybers Eldritch again. I won that one. Round 9 and 10, I lost, though. Round 9 was against Sword Soul, where that misplay came up that I was talking about, where I didn't acknowledge my extra deck. And then round 10 was against the PK Brave, which I just don't feel like I have enough side against. And it's also a rough matchup, so I want to test it more. Because, like, even under a Floodgate, they can just, like, set Fog Blades, which does a lot against you. And so those are my matchups. One other thing I want to go over, because this is something that I have not seen other deck profiles do for this deck, and it's information I was looking for going into this. I'm going to show you guys kind of like my side deck patterns in this deck. I'm going to show you all the cards that I consider even siding out in some matchups, and talk a little bit about when they come out, why they would come out. These, I never side 3 out, but I'm going to set the 3 aside for now. Maybe this and this. And occasionally you could take out this. So these are like the only cards that you would ever even consider taking out. You only take out Shifter in something like the Mirror Match, because against the Mirror Match, it's not doing anything. But in every other matchup, these are the only cards you'd even really consider taking from. You see I side 12 in the Mirror, so I'll go over that because it's probably the easiest to discuss. In the Mirror Match, I'm putting in 12. I'm taking these 6 out for sure. I take these out because if their deck is good, they're not playing other hand traps besides Shifter in the main. I don't like the builds that main Imperm or Ash. They seem like not good enough. Like, you want a high impact hand trap because you don't have a lot of room for going second cards. So when you draw it, that card has to like win you the game. And so like in the Mirror, these 9 are coming out, and then some sort of these 3. Like if I'm going first, I'll probably take out this. You're for sure taking this out. And like maybe these are what I'm taking out going first. And then going second, I would take out this instead, but I don't know if that's correct in the Mirror. But I like to go down to 4 tributes post games 2 and 3 sometimes. And then in other matchups, like when you go first, if your deck just like beats their deck, like if your end board beats their end board, you're just taking this out and putting this in. And then going second, you don't really put this in against anything except the Mirror. And going second, you tend to take out like, I like to take this out. I like to occasionally take this out and like one of these for whatever blowout card is going to win you that matchup, be it the Lancia, be it the Droll if I add that. But in this list, like it was really just Lancia or Token Collector would be the blowout that would go in these card slot. And I'm up, if you think these are incorrect to side out for that stuff, I'm willing to debate that because I want to find the actual answer. I'd like to discuss that with people. This could also come out, and I don't think you take this out, honestly. I've been thinking more and more that this probably just always stays in, since it can trade with, at least going second, since worst case, it's like able to trade with Imperms, or if they're playing like the Brave stuff, it can trade with their equips to like stop them from having follow-up. But for the most part, that's like it. That's the list. That's kind of how I side out right now. If you guys like the deck, like, go ahead and hit like. And I meant to say this at the start, but I totally fucking forgot. If I start, when I hit 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube, I'm going to do a 24-hour live stream on DB. So make sure you subscribe. So
if
that we
DB's online.
It will be.
It was not online this morning.
Yeah, it was messing up for me, but I'll come after him. But yeah, that's the profile, guys. Make sure you subscribe for that 24-hour stream, and take it easy. Thanks for watching.